Hello. Sorry about the clickbait title and thumbnail. The algorithm made me do it. But while you're here, I have a good video for you anyway. All right, this is just like a quickie to get it out of my system. Easy production on this one. I'm VoidBurger, and as you may already know, I am a huge Silent Hill dweeb lord. It's bad. Got the shirt. This is a Silent Hill shirt. The biggest things on my resume are being in the credits of Book of Memories, a game I didn't like, so that's kind of awkward. Working on the Great Debate YouTube channel with my buddy Bob Vids, who is also a giant Silent Hill nerd too. We've done a ton of investigative journalism-y stuff about Silent Hill there. We've interviewed Tom Hewlett, the producer of this Western series. We've interviewed localizer Jeremy Blaustein and 5G Corona conspiracy theorist Guy Seehee. I'm also cited on the Wikipedia page for PT for some reason. That's cool. I've had breakfast with the main localizer of Heather Mason's inner monologues, Nora Stevens Heath, and we took a really cute selfie together. Oh. She's like so nice, by the way. We talk about sumo wrestling together. It's adorable. And the other thing I'm known for is bringing to light the tragedy of the Silent Hill circumcision conspiracy on the fan wiki. I'd just Google it. I'm not going to get into what that was all about. But as you may already know from my gaming channel, I've been recently playing Bloober Team's The Medium and not liking it very much. Sorry. So don't complain about me complaining about The Medium. Just watch a YouTube video that's about how cool it is instead of watching this one. I'm sorry, you're not going to get positive Medium feelings from this video. You may as well hit the back button, buddy. So over on the Great Debate page, we recently did a YouTube video / podcasty thing that kind of detailed a timeline of general Silent Hill rumor mill nonsense that kind of culminates in our theory that maybe Bloober Team is making the next Silent Hill game. Yikes. Not into it. You can watch the thingy this way? That way? I don't know. You can watch that video there and find out our opinions on it. But so one of the things we talked about in that podcasty video was how the Medium poorly handles its main monster called the Maw, this thingy. And Bloober Team riddled this game with Silent Hill 2 references, like that they're sneaky, some that are not. Most of them are not sneaky, actually. If you've played the game and you know it, you're going to be like, what the? That's the... So I feel like it's not out of line for me to compare the Maw with, you know him, you love him, Tetrahedron Noggin from Silent Hill 2. So in the podcast, I critiqued the introduction of the Medium stalking monster, the Maw, pretty heavily. Especially the fact that Bloober Team seemingly felt no real hesitation in just showing off the whole guy, the whole monster, which generally speaking is kind of like a horror genre no-no. You don't just show the whole monster immediately. This is like horror 101, guys. What are you doing? And I had a couple people in the comments call me a hypocrite for basically giving Silent Hill 2 a pass because Silent Hill 2 shows the whole monster immediately too. You hypocritical Silent Hill 2 loving slut. So yes, I'm back on my bullshit. I am explaining why Pyramidhead's introduction is brilliant and the Maw's is not. So tired. By the way, I'm only talking about the introductions of these villains, so to speak. I'm not talking about their designs, which, or their gameplay gimmicks, which, or their actual meanings in the plot, which, So this video shouldn't have any, like, heavy plot spoilers. I'll try to avoid them. This is just about cutscene direction and the gameplay design of their introductions to the player and how the protagonist reacts to them. That's it. So let's start with the Medium. I'm going to commentate over the first meeting with the Maw. Going to be pausing during it and ruining the pacing for both of these games equally. So basically this scene kind of plays out with, you know, a spooky thing happens. You did a puzzle, you got a cutscene. It's not a puzzle, there's no puzzles in this game. What am I freaking saying? You did a thing, you're progressing, here's a cutscene for your trouble. And basically after some spooky photos get shown, you hear this thing whimpering behind you. She turns around and you can basically see the whole form of this guy from behind. You can see his butt. So our dipshit protagonist is trying to bother the giant scary monster, even though this is by the way, this is a game that has no combat in it. You haven't run into any other, bad guys. There's no enemies or creatures of ill portent or anything like that, ill intent. So like from the perspective of the person playing, it's like, girl, you dumb. This is a fucked up monster. Don't talk to it.
Are you all right?
Don't look at me!
So this critter gets mad, does the chokehold thing. In these quick little shots, they are quick, I'll give them that, thank God. You still get to see a lot of different angles of this gritter, this guy critter, this entity. Troy Baker likes to call it an entity.
You were playing a character or a thing or a concept called the Maw, which sounds horrifying. What is it?
It is. We were talking about this, and we prefer, after much deliberation and conversation, we were like, the entity. It's an entity, which to me just that word just evokes an instant kind of palpable, tangible creepiness to it, with an air of mystery.
So whatever, this thing gets mad, chokes Marianne, our protagonist, holds her up like that. You get to see a pretty good, like, long shot, close up of this dude. He's got the tongue and all that stuff. And then she gets out of his grapple with this the light powers that she's got, right? So I have a problem with that because it's incredibly video gamey. It takes away a lot of the threatening factor from the monster to immediately, in a very video gamey way, illustrate that, here's its weak point. It doesn't like light. Okay.
Not a fan of light, huh? Fucking figures.
And it turns out it's not just light, it's energy to even expand that, so it's even weaker, you find out later on, than you'd expect. And then, like, immediately after this, basically a chase scene happens. So this is like part 2 of meeting the Maw. This is like a 3-part thing. First part is just the cutscene, get strangled, the meet cute. I'm going to call it the meet cute. Part 1 is the meet cute. Part 2 is the chase scene here. It's very quick, but it's actually quite unforgiving. I managed to get through it quickly for no real good reason, but I've seen other players have to do this sequence, which is short, again and again and again because they take the wrong turn, they think there's a gimmick to it or something. For some reason, this sequence is not communicating to the player which way to go correctly.
So there is a bit of like an action-y sequence here, which is something I basically had to memorize to pull off.
So it's not exactly fair to say that it's not telling the player where to go or anything, but it's very unforgiving with the timing of being able to do that. You have to do it now. You have to do it fast.
Did I explode?
And nothing kills the tension like a load screen after dying and reloading it and doing the same thing. That's how you turn fear into frustration. This chase scene is a pretty bad idea, in my opinion. I don't know why they did it. Just because it's supposed to be scary, but it's not. Sorry.
I actually don't like things chasing after me, but this is like not scary.
Naked.
What do you say, naked?
So you escape because you run into an area with light. So lucky you. It is the smallest amount of respite you're going to get in this intro sequence because now we're about to go into part 3, which is the stealth section. Now, the stealth section, I've seen many people complain about. I watched my friend Bob's video on it. He was stuck here for a while. I watched Giant Bomb's Quick Look. They were stuck here for a while. And this... Oh...
All right, so I've made it through this, but like, it's not super easy.
Okay. Yeah, this is where I gave up.
So this stealth session does not have any major tells about whether or not you're in the Maw's line of sight. So it doesn't feel good to play. And a lot of people are going to fail this part over and over and over again because this dude is tall. Can't he see you? Like, I'm not saying you should have a cone of vision that's really obvious or anything like that, but it's just like you don't feel like... It's not that you don't feel like you're safe, because it's like, oh, it's a horror game, you're not supposed to feel like you're safe. That's not what I mean. I mean, like, as a gameplay you don't feel confident in your ability to do the thing the game wants you to do because you don't know how hidden you are because this guy is freaking 11 feet tall. He could probably see you right now. Right, dog?
You also have that forced camera perspective, so you can't exactly like look
See
around
where
and
you can
see
hide.
where you can hide. In the game now, I don't even see him, right?
He's up that way somewhere.
But yeah, I've seen players die here over and over and over again and immediately get frustrated. And they even go so far as to backtrack to the previous room because they're thinking like, I must have missed something. This must not be the way to go because I'm being so consistently punished whenever I do anything, whenever I do the thing that I think is supposed to be correct because the stealth doesn't feel good.
This is rough. Anyway, maybe I'll try and go back this way.
Oh no, it's full of bugs.
I immediately died.
And I've also seen people just try to barrel through it thinking this is not a stealth section because obviously this dude can fucking see me. He's really tall, right? So it's just a mess of a stealth section. You get grabbed once and you can, fend him off because you've got the juice, you got the light juice, and that's your one extra try. But that's it. So that's our 3 sequences here that introduce the maw. You've got the meet cute scene, you've got the chase sequence, and the stealth section. They all suck a little bit, but I'd say the least bad is the actual meet cute. It's a cutscene, it's got a monster in it, whatever. The gameplay that immediately follows is just a mess. 2 different types of messes. So here's the exciting part. Let's compare this to how we encounter Pyramidhead in Silent Hill 2 for the first time, which is also in 3 parts. It's very convenient. First, we've got the meet cute, which is, from the get-go, in my opinion, so much more effective than the Maws. It's ridiculous. And it's not a cutscene. It's gameplay. Oh, I love it. So the first time you actually meet Pyramidhead, it's not this cutscene. People think that's when you meet Pyramidhead. It really isn't, because you can actually miss this, but the first time a lot of players meet Pyramidhead is here. He's in this dark as hell hallway, kind of far away, barely lit in red. He's hardly moving, and he's just staring at you from behind the bars. And your brain goes, what the fuck is that? You can't move the camera around to get a better look at this guy. This is the angle you gotta work with. Try to suss this thing out. And Pyramidhead's not about to move and give you a nice little turnaround so you can see his whole monster design from different angles. No, he's just staring at you. He doesn't do anything. He does not say anything. He does not speak ever. This is it. Here's what you can tell already, just from this encounter. This is a monster, but he's not like other monsters. That's important. You've met 3 other monsters so far. All of them have been pretty mindless critters. They act animalistic. They're not, they're not like this guy. This guy is not acting like a critter at all. But he surely cannot be a human being, because no human being could be in this form with this giant thing on his head. It's too heavy, right? How can he even see you? He's, he looks like he's looking at you, but he can't see you. How can he look out of this giant thing on his head? This is like impossible, right? It's just these little things that you don't notice, but your brain did, as a philosopher once said. So you get to observe this creature from a distance, through bars, like he's in a zoo. Although a thought might occur to you, what if he's the one observing you? Despite being perfectly safe from this guy, with the distance and the physical bars between you, there's something about this encounter that feels so unsafe. It's so quietly, confidently scary just to do this to a player. God, it's cool. Like, I feel more threatened by this guy standing half a hallway away from me with bars in the way of me, who's just quietly looking at me, and I don't know what to make of him, than that dude who, choke-holded Marianne in the cutscene. That's not scary to me, that's just violent. There's a difference between scary and violent, and, this is a lot scarier than getting choked by a weird ballerina thing. Got weird feet. Pyramidhead emits this ominous, foreboding presence without making a sound or moving an inch, and there's just some sort of quiet, scary dignity to that. This is in stark comparison to the Maw, who is a big, messy bitch.
But they don't last. They never last. Can't go out like this. Alone. Naked.
From minute 1, this thing is refusing to shut the hell up, and it immediately gets in your face, threatens you physically. Then you have this multi-part encounter that goes on with no respite, with no time to build any tension or anxiety. It's just action, reaction. That's it. Ugh, whatever. Part 2, kind of, in your encounter with Pyramidhead is when you leave him in that hall to continue on your business. There's clearly nothing you can do with this guy. He's a spooky dude. You don't like him, but there's nothing to interact with here. So you're going to go and continue the stuff you were doing. You were just about to solve a puzzle before that guy distracted you. So let's go on and do that. Correction, I got my order of events slightly screwed up here. You actually got distracted from investigating a scream that led you to Pyramidhead. There happens to be a puzzle that you do solve in the next room, though, whatever. So you go into the room where the puzzle is at, and it's a little different. There's a dead guy here that was not here before, and this must have just happened. I really like the way that Silent Hill 2 plays with not just liminal spaces, but the idea that something you just missed something. Something happened here pretty recently, you barely missed it. It happens a bunch of times in Silent Hill 2. It is so cool. Not a lot of games do it. Don't know why, because it's super cool. But yeah, this must have just happened. You were here just a little while ago. There was no dead guy here. You gotta assume this was the work of that triangle man you just saw. And you go outside in the hallway to see the guy again. He's gone. He's not there. What the fuck? Pyramidhead just managed to threaten the shit out of you without physically being there. I know I gush a lot about Silent Hill 2. I know I gush a lot about Silent Hill 2, but that is so cool. Oh my god. And Pyramidhead just left the player with a ton of disturbing questions. How did he do this? When did he do this? Why did he do this? What's he about? What's his motivation? Where did he go? Is he out there, or is he just like a weird environmental spookum? Am I gonna have to fight this thing? Uh-oh. And like another difference between Pyramidhead and the Maw is that I don't ask any questions besides what the hell's this thing's deal with the Maw? Like, you know, it's just like, what's your problem? Damn, it's less mysterious. I don't know, man.
My anaconda don't.
Anyway, notice the pacing difference between the Maw's 3 distinct sequences, meet cute, chase, and stealth section, and Pyramidhead's 3 distinct sequences. I've only shown you 2 so far though, using these introductions. The Maw's is just a gauntlet shown right after another, like no downtime between them. It's just this, then this, then this. No time to come down from any of that. Pyramidheads are spread out a little, paced differently. They're different types of scares than just action, 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 stress, stress, stress. And they're spread out, I think, in a very deliberate way to build and relieve tension a little bit. You build it, you relieve it a tiny bit, not all the way. It's still there. You build it more, you relieve it a tiny bit. So you're still on edge this whole time without something being actively threatening to you, which I think is scarier because it's your head. You're messing with yourself here. Part 3 of the Pyramidhead intro. You solve that puzzle you were looking to do, dead body aside, and gain access to more of the building. Great, cool progress, video game progress. And your anxiety is probably going to ramp up a little as you recognize that this area that you just gained access to was exactly where that scary man was standing when you first saw him. Which means he probably went that way, where I'm going. Anyway, we're still, like, you know, wary of Triangle Man, but for now it seems like he's not here. So okay, little bit of relief. Phew, he's not here. We got a couple busted doors here. That's a familiar sign of regular Silent Hill gameplay. All these doors are broken. Shit's rusty. All doors are locked. So it seems like we're back to good old exploring. Let's move on with our lives. Let's go and find the first open door and oh my god! All right, time for me to ruin the pacing of this cutscene. So this is the more famous Pyramidhead scene. It's the one that people think is the first time you come across Pyramidhead. It's brilliantly directed. That's why it's so memorable. People often misremember this scene as a lot of different things. Fully lit, for one. It's not. Showing the whole monster fully lit. Not really. And also as it being the first time you become aware of Pyramidhead, and it's not really. So let's kind of break it down. It's not really doing most of those things. So another aside, you may have noticed that I've been switching a little bit between the PlayStation 2 version of Silent Hill 2 and the new fan-made Enhanced Edition for PC. No real reason besides the Enhanced Edition is just prettier, and I also recorded a lot of those bits first before realizing that in the interest of fairness and fidelity, I really just ought to be using the PlayStation 2 version for the really important bits. Mainly this cutscene, exactly. It's really hard to talk about the cutscene direction and the lighting choices if I were to use the fan-made HD mod. In a seemingly artistic move, the fan mod team have pretty drastically changed the lighting in this cutscene, especially via turning off James's flashlight in the closet, which is really only to make James seem more logical in this cutscene. It's kind of a famous fan ribbing that James is not being very stealthy in this scene, haha. But that's a pretty big overcorrection for me, and I want to talk about this cutscene the way it was originally shown, so I'm going to be using the PlayStation 2 version with regular gamma and with the noise filter on, since that's how most folks saw this scene for the first time, including me. So these quick opening shots, they last about a second each or less. They're so short. James gets in the way for some of it. It's really hard to see what's going on. But these short, fast little snippets are so shocking. They send your mind reeling. What are you looking at? What is that thing doing to those monsters? Is this sex? Is this murder? Like, what? There's no blood. There's no like actual thrusting motions or anything like that simulating sex, but your brain is filling in those blanks very quickly because those shots were so fast. So the suddenness of this cutscene, like it just happens. It's part of its visceral nature. It's super on purpose that you enter this room and bam, you're in a cutscene. What is that thing? Oh my God. It's shocking. It's scary. You weren't expecting a cutscene in this random room, and it instills the same kind of adrenaline rush of like barging in on your roommate having sex or barging into a bathroom stall you didn't know was occupied. It's just mortification. Like, oh my God, no, like a flight response. Like you wish that James just turned around, went right back out the door he came into and ran down that hallway like hell. He doesn't. He goes into this closet like a dipshit. And we get another really close, really quick shot of Pyramidhead while he's doing that. So then you've got the shot that actually lingers in this cutscene that makes people think you're seeing the full monster in full light when in fact it's really dark. This shot is so cool. It's taken from Blue Velvet. This scene is very inspired by Blue Velvet, by the way, from David Lynch, if you didn't know. Fun fact.
Do it for Van Gogh.
But we have this shot that's actually lingering for a while. Oh my God, it's so dark. This scene is also obscured by the top and bottom of the slats that James is peering out of. It's really cool. And you can only like barely make out what's going on here, basically, unless you have the gamma like so high up. You know, you're cheating at horror games if you do that sometimes. But you can make out that here's that triangle guy. He's dragging a monster around. He does this unnerving like gesticulation, and he seems to deliberately approach James's hiding spot. Oh my God. So the third part of this scene starts here. We cut back to James, who finds ammo for his currently strongest weapon, the pistol, and he just unloads into Pyramidhead desperately. Like no plan, just scared, unloads into Pyramidhead. And we get, while he's shooting Pyramidhead, you get a view from behind James, where Pyramidhead is, segmented. You can't really see him. And you get this very short outside view, and then we're back to the inside, and the camera stays here for the rest of the cutscene. So the sound design here implies that Pyramidhead is calmly leaving the room, mostly uninjured. Yikes. And this also leaves you with a bunch of questions. Again, how intelligent is this thing? What the fuck? Does this thing think? That's scary. It seems to not be like a normal monster. This thing very deliberately came up here, knew I was in here, and why didn't it retaliate against James, despite James being clearly cornered and the bullets seemingly doing nothing? And also, if my strongest weapon did nothing, how can I approach this guy? Can he be killed? Tons of questions. And this scene actually also functions as a tutorial for the next time you see Pyramidhead, illustrating that PH, he's just merely inconvenienced by bullets. He's not actually injured. And this stands in comparison with the obvious video gamey weakness of the Maw being shown like immediately, the same cutscene the first time you meet this thing, and then it's used in the stealth section that immediately follows that introduction. So that's immediately not as threatening. You've got Pyramidhead, who we just unloaded a whole clip of ammo into. He doesn't care. He calmly walks away and doesn't even retaliate. And then you've got the Maw, which is so retaliatory and yet so weak. Light hurts it. Like there's just something not scary about that. So the next time you meet Pyramid Head, it's a boss fight at the very end of the level. And here is where you actually see him in like a full view in non-dramatic plain lighting for more than a quick moment. And guess what? Most people still didn't see all of the guy because guess what? He has a tongue. A lot of people don't know this actually. He has a tongue. It comes out of that little port right there, that thingy that he grabbed during that cutscene that you couldn't even see. And also I just want to point out that you never see the whole Pyramid Head because he's got a pyramid on his head. So you never actually see all of Pyramid Head if you think about it. It's not his head. There's lots of theories about like what's under Pyramid Head's helmet and, you know, is it James's head? Is it just a big old blob of cancerous tumors and shit? Is it Valtiel's head? I don't know. Is it a freaking skeleton head? But you never see the whole guy, ever, technically. But I know I'm being pedantic with that point, but I think it's kind of funny. So I want to go back real quick to that chase scene in the Maw's intro and compare it again to Silent Hill 2 because Silent Hill 2 has a chase scene with Pyramid Head. I feel like that's apt to compare these two things. And like I said, a lot of players die during the chase scene with the Maw, which replaces a lot of the fear with frustration. Understandably, the game doesn't let you progress unless you react correctly and quickly. Two things very important. Both those things have to happen for you to keep going, basically. Meanwhile, in Silent Hill 2, unless you're on hard mode, you actually have to like fuck up to fail at its iconic chase scene. But why then, here's the question, why then is Silent Hill 2's chase scene scarier? Why am I making a face? PH doesn't chase you until way later in the game, and the stress of that scene is coming a lot more from the fact that you have an NPC with you, Maria, and she's slower than you. It's not like an escort quest or anything really, but yeah, don't let her die, please. But yeah, she's slower than you. She recently called out James for not giving a shit about her well-being.
Anyway, I'm glad you're alive.
Anyway? What do you mean, anyway? You don't sound very happy to see me. I was almost killed back there. Why didn't you try to save me? You couldn't care less about me, could you?
And here she is getting stabbed by this fucked up guy. So that's stressful. So Pyramid Head is able to kill Maria here. That's important. But it's only if you try to make a desperate, unrealistic, chivalrous move to defend Maria from him. You wouldn't do that if this wasn't a video game, bruh. More importantly, James, the guy, wouldn't do this. But that's just me, you know, getting into my narrative opinions. This guy sucks. But I think the game knows that you would only do this foolish action in a video game, and it doesn't want to reward that kind of reckless behavior, obviously. It's just not that kind of game. So you have to run. But it makes you feel like a sleazeball and a coward that you're running away, which is amazing. And realistically, the only way you could fail this chase section is if you're playing the game like a dipshit action hero, or you just get really unlucky on hard mode and Pyramid Head decides to stab Maria a little bit better than usual. This sequence is technically speaking very forgiving of player error, unlike the medium sequence where one wrong move kills you immediately, instantly. I actually got killed by the Maw in a later chase scene because I didn't round a corner perfectly. What did I do something wrong there?
You took slightly too long
to
rip around the corner, so he caught up to you.
What?
Because I saw him come up behind you briefly before the cutscene.
I was going at normal speed. That was worth punishing for some reason. But somehow Silent Hill 2's chase scene feels more like you've escaped by the skin of your teeth. And it does this without making the chase scene frustrating, which is really important for the player to not feel frustrated, because frustration completely replaces fear. It's like an opposite emotion, basically. It negates it. The pacing of the game matters so much more than genuinely threatening the player with death during a chase sequence. And I think Bloober Team did not know that. Extremely fucked up and dropped the ball here. That's why Silent Hill 2's chase scene is so much more effective and memorable as a set piece in a horror game. This part does not need to be difficult to be scary. And I don't know, as an aside, I just want to make a general critique that like the Maw constantly shouting random shit at you like a desperate haunted house employee is just not very effective. Bloober Team.
try you on. And skin sucked. Dying. To meet you. I can smell your soul.
Like, it literally comes off like a dude that's trying really, really, really hard to scare you with all this fucking nonsense he's saying. Like, some of it is like total nonsense. Like, dude, shut up. What the fuck are you even saying? He just goes bleh at some point. It's like, dude. Chill out. Pyramidhead, however, is the strong silent type. Silent. The Chad. The Chad of monsters. He knows he's gonna getcha. He doesn't have to play hide and seek with you, shout threats at you, or chase you at full speed anywhere. See how slow this dude walks when he's chasing you? That's threatening. He Terminators at you. That's scary. He's gonna take his damn time. The confidence that exudes off Pyramidhead, just not in his design, but in his like mannerisms, it just works so good. Especially when you compare him to that super desperate, messy bitch, the Maw. And that's all I gotta say about the Maw and Pyramidhead. Well, not really. That's a lie. I have a lot of things to say about, you know, them. I would love to critique the character design and the sound design of the thing. Especially that this thing just sounds like Buffalo Bill doing a Tim Curry impression, doing a Cookie Monster impression, and that's not scary.
No, don't leave. We always leave. Stay with me. No.
I'm sorry, Troy Baker. You're very talented, but dude, this was a mistake. But that's all I want to get into for this particular video that is less difficult to make than a real deal video essay. So, thanks for watching. Support my stuff. Did you like the shit I said? I have a Patreon, I have a Twitter, I have a different YouTube channel where I play video games, and I got a Twitch, and it's all VoidBurger. You can't miss it. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Bob Vids, my editing sensei, for being kind enough to let me in on his own medium capture footage. I did not want to play that game over to get footage for myself. Thank you. He was recording that stuff anyway. He's making his own critique of the medium, and you should check it out. I'm going to link it when it's done in one of the corners. I forget which corner it is when I'm filming these things. Bob Vids makes amazing videos. You should absolutely watch them. That one's probably as excellent as all the other ones. Thanks also to my partner, Chip Cheesem, for balancing this audio for me. Phew, thank you. Saved me a bunch of time. I love you. And gotta thank my patrons. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. You are all excellent, every single last one of you. But special shout out to my producer type patrons. They are Tony the Tank Engine, Jonathan Lau, Ken Sodden, and Josh Moniz. What up, you guys? Thank you so much for supporting me and being the realest of the real ones. Oh, you're too kind to me. Thank you. I hope it wasn't too obvious that I filmed this on a different day. Oop. I forgot. Now I get to ask you a question for the comments. What do you think about the Maw? Is this thing scary? Like, is that scary? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's scary to you. I don't know. It's not scary to me. I'm just desensitized. I'm too damn tough. That's what I'm saying. What other monsters do you think had a good meet cute? I guess is a good question to ask you guys. Oh, and also, did you like this format of video? Maybe you do. Maybe I can make these more often because they're easier to make than writing out many pages of script. And actually have to back up my opinions. I don't have to back up my opinions. It's just opinions right here. Hell yeah. Easy. I don't need to search for stock footage or anything. Anyway, thanks for watching. Again, goodbye.